Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. It's time to bring the love on because today is Valentine's Day. I'm Josh Caparelli, blogger for Caponomics.
Jim.
Quite a flashy introduction.
I know. I'm full of personality here. Verve and wit.
You've got to have a lot of personality when it may break your heart to see that most of the people could not make it today. We couldn't find any guests. Our moderator couldn't show up. Charlie devoted his love to cookies.
It is.
That is 3 nunus and his drum sets. He had to go, I think he took his drum set out to dinner. But today we're going to be going over the works that spark a romantic feeling, in a way. And Jim, how would you define a work sparking a romantic feeling? Would this be would this make your heart flutter? Would it be? Is it something else?
You just read it and you just respond. It just opens you up and you're just like, oh, yes, it's good. You just know it. It just resonates.
Pretty much, and this could be any kind of, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, psychological.
I think it's all of those at once, and you get that sort of sensation of just, oh, yes, it's just good.
Okay. We should move right along with the work that you chose.
Oh, I'm starting up here?
You get to start.
All right.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Well, I took Pablo Neruda. Anybody knows he's one of my favorite poets.
Ooh.
Chilean poet, late 20th century. Yes, Nobel Prize winner. Didn't refuse it like Sartre did.
Sartre was French and it was in the 60s.
Right. It's just
all comes down to belief. What's your poem?
Juegas todos los días from 20 poemas de amor y canción de despierta, the 20 poems of love and 1 song of despair.
And like like Adrian Rich, it's split up into different thoughts?
Yeah, it's a sequence. Except Rich, you have it divided into verse chants, like you get number 1 and then it's continuous number 2. Here these are all individual self-contained poems. It's not split into sections. And Juegas todos los días basically means you play all the days, every day you play. It's like Juegas todos los días con la luz del universo. It's you play every day with the lights of the universe, you know. You bring all the joy into my life. You have everything you can ever do. My whole world revolves around you. I just love this poem, especially the last line.
What is the last line?
Quiero hacer contigo lo que la primavera hace con los cerezos. I want to do with you what spring does with cherry blossoms.
We may be going over, we may have an episode dedicated to the 4 seasons.
Yes.
Granted, the spring and cherry blossoms, they point to spring representing birth.
Happy times.
Yeah, that too. Happy times as well.
Because you know what spring does with cherry blossoms is it spreads them open, it lays them around.
Yep.
Sometimes it scatters them in grass.
Exactly. The essence of nature. I don't even want to get into what pollen on the car means.
Yes.
But the way that Neruda explains his point is just very captivating.
Yes.
How he words things. It's very it flows.
Yes. A nadie te pareces desde que yo te amo. It's just so You are like no one. You seem like no other because I adore you.
Ooh.
It's just, it's so blunt, but it's just so sweet, you know? It works with all the other images because it's like, you know, let me remember you as you were before you existed. And it's like, I'll spread you out among yellow garland. It's just so vivid. And then you get these moments of he just lays it out there. Then you have this image, and then you have him making another direct statement, and it just sort of works.
That is quite the love poem for someone to read their lover on Valentine's Day. And if you're able to learn Spanish, it becomes all the beautiful. Hoping that your mate can understand what you're trying to say.
Or you make them learn too.
For my work, the work that sparks a romantic feeling, I went the more emotional route, and I also went relatively popular, which when you begin to read, you want to start reading as an enthusiast, like I have done. Perhaps starting with popular works like your Stephen King and your James Patterson, that's not the bad. Granted, I think that their work is very good quality depending on what it is, but you can't really judge. You can't just dismiss it just because it's not a work of literature that's respected by an English major with their doctorate. With that being said, the work I chose is Tell No One by Harlan Coben, and it has to do with a pediatrician who is deep into his work, but 8 years ago he was deep into a relationship with a woman named Elizabeth who happened to disappear, and the evidence points that she was murdered. Everybody's telling him she's gone, life is going to have to go on, and outside of his work, he's just a miserable wreck. But then she sends him an email, and he's convinced that she's still alive and that he has to go look for her. And the adventure that he ensues with his interactions with people, the twists and turns, and he even ends up getting framed at one point. His lawyer tells him that he should become we're going to put you into this kind of trouble, but we're going to pull you out of it, and it leads to a police chase. The rest of that. But the passion that he has for this woman and the way that things conclude, it captivates the passion that one person may have for another with regard to a relationship, and it really kept my attention, and it's a massive page turner because Harlan Coben's very good at with suspense. I had the honor to meet him when he came to the local library while I was in high school. Now he's really become a huge author with his Bolitar series, his standalones. He's just a New Jersey native, very good author. If you haven't read him, I would highly suggest.
I haven't. I will.
Very much so. Even if for a nice, light but intense, suspenseful, and brilliant read. It's one of my favorite novels that I've ever read. And while it's not gushy as some works may be, you don't need to indulge in that pink bubblegum mush in order to detect passion for one another, which is why I didn't go around Romeo and Juliet. Jim, you had mentioned that you wanted to
I wanted to say,
mention?
yeah, ones I had considered for this list. I was going to put Violet Leduc, her book La Bâtarde. It's a French novel. It's basically she's wandering around Bohemian Paris. She falls in love with a girl. It's her memoir, actually. It's very sweet. It's rough, though, and it's surreal, and it's very, very pretty. It's written well.
Was there another that you had, or?
Yeah, I actually had several, but I'm not thinking of any of the others right now. Marguerite Duras, The Lover. It's a very sweet story. Look at me on the French lit kick here.
French literature is known for captivating romance. French kissing. That's all. Need I say more?
So books that make me feel like a romantic.
Wouldn't you agree that Shakespeare, some of his are very outlandish? The relationships that he puts together? Yeah,
Romeo and Juliet was over the top. He wrote that satirically. He was mocking a lot of the conventions of pre-Elizabethan theater, and he wrote that on commission.
One of the strangest was in Pericles when it was a father-daughter relationship.
Well, it's alleged that Shakespeare didn't write Pericles.
For his sake, he would hope not. That was probably his worst.
That was one of the worst.
Yeah. From him.
And then To Noble Kinsmen, it's confirmed Shakespeare didn't write that.
Fletcher completely then.
Right.
Granted, that's why when we did that assignment, I went with Verona, because I wanted Shakespeare if I'm taking a Shakespeare class. Which reminds me, we should consider having that instructor on our web show.
Yes, I like Professor Hardman. She's nice.
But otherwise, I will leave you links with the material that we went over today, and if you're interested in reading it, feel free to either pick it up at a bookstore or on Amazon or any other online or retail outlet, or you can just print it out online, whichever works for you.
I would love to do a future episode on La Bâtarde because that's one of my favorite books in the world, so maybe stay tuned for that.
Oh, perhaps we're going to be talking about the upcoming season once Season 2 wraps up. Hope you join us back next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. Until then, keep reading.